When life feels uncertain, when your dreams seem far away and your energy fades, remember this truth. It's not talent, luck, or timing that shapes destiny, it's consistency. Every sunrise you face with discipline, every small step you take when no one is watching, is a silent promise you make to your future self. Consistency is the bridge between intention and transformation. It's the quiet power that turns effort into excellence, doubt into strength, and chaos into clarity. When you force yourself to be consistent, life begins to align in ways that seem almost magical because the universe always responds to steady energy. There will be days when your heart feels heavy, when your body doesn't want to move, when your mind whispers, "Not today." And it's in those exact moments that your destiny is being tested. Not by what you can do when everything feels easy, but by how you act when everything inside you says, "Stop." Consistency is not about being intense for a moment, it's about showing up again and again, even when the fire of motivation has faded. It's about walking through the fog when you can't yet see the mountaintop. You see, anyone can push hard when the world is cheering, when energy is high, when success feels close. But real strength is quiet. It is the steady heartbeat that continues when no one is listening. It's the silent decision to rise early, to move forward, to practice, to try again, without applause, without recognition, without visible reward. Because you understand that true growth is not a sudden explosion of effort, it's the slow, deliberate chiseling of your own potential. Imagine a river carving its way through stone. It doesn't strike the rock once with great force, it flows gently, persistently over time. And what once seemed unbreakable yields to its steady rhythm. That is the power of consistency. You don't need to be fierce like a storm. You need to be unwavering like a current that never stops. Every day you show up, even with tired hands and an uncertain heart, you are shaping your own landscape. You are teaching the universe that you are serious about your purpose. Intensity burns bright but fades quickly. Consistency glows quietly, yet it lights the entire path ahead. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself change only to wait for the right moment or the perfect mood? But life doesn't wait for your emotions to align with your goals. Discipline begins when motivation ends. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve lies in their ability to keep moving through boredom, through doubt, through fatigue. You don't need to feel inspired to take action. You just need to take action, and inspiration will follow. When you force yourself to show up despite the resistance, something profound happens. You begin to trust yourself. You start to realize that your word to yourself has weight. And once you trust your own consistency, confidence is born, not the kind that depends on success, but the kind that grows from integrity. You become someone you can rely on, and that is the foundation of unshakable strength. The truth is, no one ever regrets showing up. You might not always perform perfectly, but each effort compounds silently within you. Every step you take when it's hard becomes a deposit in the bank of your destiny. Over time, these small, faithful moments gather into something extraordinary. The person who kept going while others stopped. The one who stayed disciplined while others waited for motivation. The one who kept showing up even when it wasn't easy. So when the mind says, "It doesn't matter today," whisper back, "It always matters." When your body says, "Rest a little longer," remind it, "My dreams won't wait." When you want to quit, remember, the act of showing up, no matter how small, is what separates progress from stagnation. You don't have to give your best every day. You only have to give something, and if you keep doing that, day after day, everything begins to shift. Be the river that never stops flowing. Be the light that doesn't burn out. You don't have to be intense. You just have to be consistent. Because when you show up for yourself, even on the hardest days, life eventually shows up for you and everything begins to fall into place. Great power rarely comes from great moments. It comes from small, consistent acts that seem insignificant at first. You may think that one push-up doesn't matter, that reading a single page changes nothing, or that taking one small step is too little to make a difference. But in truth, the smallest effort, repeated every day, has a strength that 1,000 bursts of temporary motivation will never have. Because while motivation fades, rhythm remains, and rhythm is the heartbeat of transformation. Think of how water wears down a mountain. Doesn't do it in a day or even a year. It happens through countless tiny drops, falling steadily, one after another. Drop alone is weak. But together, over time, they carve canyons. That's how true change works. It's quiet, patient, and relentless. You don't need to make massive leaps to transform your life. You need only to move forward, even slightly, but do it every single day. Because what you repeat, you become. You see, motivation is like a spark. It burns bright, but for a short time. You feel alive, inspired, ready to take on the world. Yet as soon as life becomes difficult, soon as discomfort arrives, that spark fades into smoke. What sustains you beyond that moment is not passion, it's structure, habit, and steady effort. The smallest daily effort is the rope that keeps you climbing even when enthusiasm slips from your hands. When you practice something consistently, no matter how small, you are reprogramming your mind to align with your goals. You are teaching yourself that progress does not depend on feeling powerful. It depends on being persistent. Even a single brick laid each day will one day become a wall. But if you wait for perfect conditions or a wave of excitement to build it, you may spend your whole life staring at the empty ground where your dreams could have stood. Some people chase intensity. They work hard for a week, push beyond limits for a moment, then collapse for months. They live in cycles of extremes, starting strong, burning out, and beginning again. But the wise understand that strength is built in the repetition of the ordinary. The smallest action, done faithfully, turns into a force that no burst of motivation can match. Like the steady beating of a drum, your effort keeps time with your evolution. There's a quiet magic in consistency. You don't see it working at first. You wake up early, you train, you study, you meditate, and sometimes nothing seems to change. But one day, you look back and realize how far you've come. You notice how your mind has grown calmer, your focus sharper, your body stronger, all because you refuse to stop showing up, even when the results were invisible. Every great transformation is built on invisible days, the days when no one notices, when progress feels slow, when you wonder if it's worth it. But those are the days that separate those who wish from those who become. The universe doesn't respond to intensity, it responds to consistency. Energy sent in one great burst fades quickly. Energy sent steadily begins to reshape your entire reality. So don't underestimate the smallest step you take today. Don't dismiss a few minutes of effort, a single act of discipline, or one quiet promise you keep to yourself. These are not small things, they are seeds. And when watered daily, they grow roots so deep that no setback can uproot them. You don't need to move mountains overnight. You only need to move one stone each day. Do that long enough, and one morning you look around and realize the mountain has already moved. Because real power is not in the explosion of effort, but in the quiet rhythm of persistence that never stops beating. Freedom does not come from doing whatever you want, comes from training yourself to do what must be done, even when you don't want to. Discipline is not a cage, it is the key that unlocks true freedom. When you master your habits, you no longer live at the mercy of your impulses. You begin to move through life with quiet authority, guided not by emotion, by purpose. And that is when you start to experience a different kind of peace. The peace that comes from knowing you are in control of yourself. Most people believe freedom is the ability to choose anything at any time. They think it's about avoiding rules, avoiding structure, and following only what feels good in the moment. But that kind of freedom often leads to chaos. Without discipline, your time is scattered, your focus drifts, and your potential dissolves into distraction. The person who cannot command themselves becomes a slave to their moods, their desires, and their environment. You were not born to live like that. You were born to rise above it. To be the master of your mind, not its servant. Think of discipline as the seed you plant in the soil of your daily life. In the beginning, it's small, almost invisible. It requires care, patience, and repetition. You water it with your actions, waking up when it's hard, staying committed when no one is watching, choosing growth over comfort. And slowly, that seed begins to take root. It becomes the foundation of your strength, and from it grows the tree of freedom. The deeper your discipline, the stronger that tree stands. No matter how fierce the storm, discipline doesn't restrict your life, it gives it direction. Without it, even your greatest dreams remain scattered thoughts, floating with no anchor. But when you develop disciplined habits, you give those dreams structure. You create a path that turns vision into reality. Every great artist, warrior thinker, and leader in history understood this truth. Freedom is not found in avoidance of effort, but in devotion to mastery. The dancer is free because she trained her body until every movement became effortless. The musician is free because he practiced until every note became natural. The disciplined person is free because they no longer fight against their own laziness. They have conquered it. Habit you master is like a tool added to your inner workshop. When you rise early, when you stay focused, when you finish what you begin, you are shaping yourself into someone unstoppable. And that power is not loud or boastful. It is calm, steady, and undeniable. Discipline teaches you that fulfillment doesn't come from escaping responsibility. It comes from meeting it fully, with grace. It's not about forcing life to bend to your will, but about aligning yourself so deeply with your purpose that distractions no longer pull you away. You must understand, freedom without discipline leads to emptiness. But discipline, practiced long enough, becomes freedom itself. When you no longer need to negotiate with your mind, when you no longer battle every decision, when action becomes your nature, then you are truly free. Because your habits now serve you instead of enslaving you. So train your mind to obey your higher self, build small disciplines until they become your rhythm, wake with purpose, move with intention, and end each day knowing you acted with integrity. You will begin to notice something miraculous. The more disciplined you become, the lighter you feel. The more structure you embrace, the more space you find within. Freedom is not about doing less, it's about becoming more. When you master your habits, you master your energy, your focus, and your destiny. Discipline is the seed, and freedom is the fruit. Nurture that seed daily, and one day you will look within and realize you are no longer controlled by life. You are the one guiding it. Every day that you choose discipline over comfort, every moment you decide to keep going when it would be easier to stop, you are laying another brick in the foundation of your inner strength. You may not see it happening. You may not feel it immediately, but beneath the surface, deep within you, something solid is being built. Something that cannot be shaken by the storms of life. Consistency is not just about repetition, it is about construction. Each act of effort, each moment of self-control, day of showing up adds structure to your character, brick by brick, moment by moment. Imagine building a temple. You don't complete it in a single day. You begin with bare ground, uncertain of how long it will take, but you trust the process. Each morning, you return. You lift one stone, place it carefully, align it with the next, and continue. Some days the progress seems invisible. Some days the work feels endless. But the wise builder knows strength is not found in speed, but in stability. Every layer you add strengthens the one beneath it. This is how your life is built. The foundation of who you are is not formed during moments of excitement or bursts of passion. It is formed in the quiet consistency of your daily choices. Every time you rise early, practice patience, train your body, or discipline your thoughts, you reinforce your inner walls. And when the winds of doubt, failure, or hardship come, you stand firm, because what you have built within cannot be easily broken. You become unshakable not by accident, but by design. You see, many people look at others who seem calm under pressure, who walk through life with steady confidence, and they think they were born that way. But no one is born with an unbreakable spirit. It is forged patiently through repetition. Strength of character is built exactly like a structure, layered slowly, reinforced daily. You don't become grounded by thinking about it. You become grounded by doing the work, especially when no one notices. Every act of consistency adds weight to your presence. You start to move differently, speak differently, think differently. You no longer react to life, you respond to it. You begin to trust yourself because you've proven over and over that you can rely on your own effort. This inner foundation becomes your anchor. When things around you collapse, you no longer fall with them. You have built something inside that holds you steady. The mistake many people make is expecting transformation to feel dramatic, but real transformation feels quiet. It happens in the invisible hours, the moments when you choose focus over distraction, discipline over comfort, and purpose over pleasure. Those choices are invisible bricks, placed one after another, until one day you realize you've built something extraordinary within yourself. Consistency is not glamorous. It doesn't always feel powerful, but it is the force that shapes every great life. When you show up each day and do what must be done, you are strengthening the foundation that your future will stand on. Without that foundation, success collapses under its own weight. With it, even failure becomes another layer that makes you stronger. So don't underestimate the quiet days of effort, the small victories, the unseen struggles. These are the moments where greatness is formed. Keep laying your bricks with patience. Keep building your strength with devotion. Because one day, when you look back, you'll see what you've created. A life that stands firm no matter what comes. Each day of consistency is a gift to your future self. Each moment of discipline adds stability to your soul. Brick by brick, moment by moment, you are becoming something powerful. Something no one can take from you. And when that foundation is complete, you won't just stand tall, you will stand unshakable. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world outside. It is against the voice inside your own mind. The mind resists change like the body resists cold water. It shivers, it pulls back, it says, stay where it's safe. But what it calls safety is often a cage built from habit and fear. Every time you try to step beyond it, the mind whispers doubt, reminding you of your limits. Yet, here lies the truth: repetition reprograms resistance. Persistence rewires what your mind believes is possible. What was once uncomfortable becomes familiar, and what was once impossible becomes your new normal. Your mind is like a wild horse at first, untamed, restless, and full of instinct. It wants to run toward pleasure and flee from discomfort. But when you train it with consistency, when you guide it with patience and discipline, it begins to serve you instead of control you. The reins of your thoughts come into your hands. Through repetition, the patterns that once held you hostage begin to dissolve. You are not trapped by the mind, you simply haven't yet taught it who is in charge. Every habit, good or bad, is written into the mind through repetition. Each thought, each action, each choice becomes a thread woven into the fabric of who you are. And when you repeat something long enough, whether it's a belief, a behavior, or a routine, it becomes automatic. That's why persistence is so powerful. It doesn't just change what you do, it changes what you are drawn to do. It rewires your brain to align with the life you are building. Think of a mountain path. When you first walk it, the trail is rough and overgrown. The steps are uncertain, the ground uneven. But if you walk that same path every day, slowly the weeds give way. The soil becomes firm, the direction becomes clear. Soon, you don't have to think about where to step. You just move naturally. This is how repetition transforms the mind. The neural pathways that were once weak and hesitant become strong highways of thought and behavior. The journey becomes smoother because you have walked it faithfully. The mind does not change through force, it changes through repetition. You cannot argue with it, but you can retrain it. Every time you push through resistance, every time you act in alignment with your higher goals instead of your lower impulses, you are laying down new mental patterns. You are telling your brain, this is who I am now. And the more you say it through your actions, the more your mind begins to believe it. It takes courage to persist when progress feels invisible. The mind will tempt you with comfort, whisper that effort is pointless, and remind you of every time you failed. But persistence doesn't listen to those whispers. Persistence keeps walking. It knows that every repetition is a signal that tells the universe, I am not quitting. And in time, the universe begins to respond. Opportunities open, energy shifts, and what once resisted you begins to yield. You don't need to win the battle against your mind in a single day. You only need to keep showing up again and again until your mind adapts to your vision. Repetition is the language the mind understands. If you speak it long enough, it stops arguing and starts cooperating. That is when transformation begins, not when you feel ready, but when you keep going despite resistance. So when your mind says, this is too hard, answer gently, it's only hard because it's new. When it says, you can't, respond, watch me. Each repetition is a victory. Each act of persistence is a signal to your future self that you are rewriting the story. Remember this, your thoughts are habits, and habits can be reprogrammed. The mind resists change, but it cannot resist consistency forever. Keep repeating, keep persisting, keep believing, and one day you'll realize that your persistence didn't just change your life, it changed who you are. The universe moves in silence. It does not rush, it does not hurry, and yet everything it creates unfolds perfectly in time. But you, standing in the middle of your journey, often feel the weight of waiting. You work hard, you stay disciplined, you give your heart to a goal, and still, the results seem far away. In those moments, impatience begins to whisper that maybe it's not working, maybe it's not worth it, maybe you should stop. But understand this deeply. Results are never denied to those who remain faithful to their effort. They are only delayed. The pace of your patience determines the depth of your progress. Growth is never instant. Seeds do not bloom the day they're planted. The tree that stands tall today once lived unseen beneath the soil, slowly taking root, preparing to rise. The same is true for you. Every act of discipline, every small step you take, every challenge you overcome, it all becomes part of a process you cannot always see. Just because the surface shows no movement does not mean nothing is happening beneath. The invisible work of your persistence is creating something magnificent that will one day break through. Impatience is the thief of transformation. It convinces you that if you can't see the outcome quickly, the effort is wasted. But progress doesn't follow the clock, it follows the rhythm of growth. Some lessons take time to mature inside you. Some blessings require you to become ready for them. Life does not deny you what you seek. It waits until you are prepared to receive it. If you demand results before you've built the strength to carry them, success becomes a burden instead of a blessing. You must learn to love the process more than the reward. The soil of patience is where mastery takes root. Every day that you stay committed despite the delay, you are building endurance, resilience, and trust. Patience is not passive. It is power under control. It's the strength to keep moving without visible proof, the faith to keep walking even when you can't see the destination. Think of a sculptor working on a block of stone for weeks, maybe months. All that can be seen are small chips falling away. To an untrained eye, it looks like nothing is changing. But the sculptor knows that with every stroke, the hidden masterpiece is taking shape. Your journey is no different. You may not see the form of your progress yet, but each day of consistent effort is shaping something within you, something solid, beautiful, and lasting. When frustration visits you, when you feel that life is moving too slowly, remember that what grows slowly grows strong. The bamboo plant spends years developing its roots underground before it ever breaks the surface. But when it finally does, shoots upward with astonishing speed. That is how life rewards the patient. The deeper your roots of persistence, the higher your future can rise. Patience is not waiting idly, it is trusting actively. It means knowing that every step counts, even the ones that feel small and unseen. It means choosing to believe that your consistency is not being ignored, it's being accumulated. Life always keeps its promises, but only to those who keep theirs. So when doubt tells you that your time is being wasted, remind yourself time spent growing is never wasted. When results seem far away, whisper to your heart, they are on their way. Keep your energy steady, your focus clear, and your faith unshaken. The universe moves in perfect timing. It is never early, never late. You are not being denied, you are being prepared. Every delay is building your strength, refining your patience, and deepening your foundation. Results will come when you are ready to hold them. And when they do, you'll understand that every moment of waiting was not a pause in your progress, but a vital part of it. Because in truth, patience is not just what brings results, it is what makes you worthy of